Hey, third grade. Welcome back. Super exciting day. Today we are going to be talking about animal life cycles, and we are going to be on page 177. This is my assistant for the day. This is Daddy Barreled. He's one of those horrendously giant bears that you see at Christmas time, but he's pretty comfy, so good boy. Anyway, hello. So we're on page 177, and somewhere in this lesson, it's going to be exciting because I have toys that go with our lesson. So I'm going to share them with you, talk a little bit about them. Life cycles. Let's get into it. An animal's life starts out as an egg. Sometimes the egg develops into a young animal inside the mother's body, like humans and other mammals. And then the mother gives birth to a live young. For other animals, the mother lays an egg outside of her body. Eagles have their young in this way. First, the mother lays an egg. Next, the eaglet, a young eagle, develops inside the egg. Finally, the eaglet hatches when it's ready. After birth, an animal begins to grow. It develops into an adult, and then it can reproduce. Eventually, it dies, and its life cycle is complete. Before I move on, the questions that you are required to answer for this flip grid are 2, 3, 4, and 9. All right, so we're skipping number 1. Look at that cute little baby bear. I just love all the animals. That's so cute. They're so cute. Life cycle of a butterfly. Some of us are pretty familiar with it. I'm disappointed because we would have actually been able to have caterpillars, butterflies, if we were still at school. But next year, right? Life cycle of a butterfly. The life cycle of a butterfly has 4 stages, as shown in the diagram on this page that you can look at while I'm reading. It also behaves in different ways. For example, the larva and adult stages in the diagram. Compare the larva and adult stages in the diagram. Wow, I can't read this morning. A larva is the second stage. The caterpillar is the larva. A butterfly larva is called a caterpillar. It has a worm-like body and it eats plants. It must eat a lot to grow and store energy. Like in The Hungry Caterpillar. Everyone's favorite story when they're a kid, right? A pupa is the stage in an insect's life cycle between a larva and adult. And a butterfly pupa is protected inside a hard covering called a chrysalis. It does not eat, and it hardly moves. The adult butterfly that comes out of the chrysalis looks nothing like that larva. I've always wondered, if there could be, a really cool, time-lapse of what happens inside of a pupa. But, that's probably impossible, right? Because how could they do it not in their chrysalis? How could we get a camera in there? But I would love to see it. If any of you ever do that as adults when you're scientists, please let me know. Or if you have sources and you know how it boggles my mind that this fat little guy then suddenly has a skinny little body and these paper thin wings. It's just fascinating, right? It has wings, long legs, and an antenna. Some adult butterflies feed on the nectar of flowers. Some do not feed at all. What? After laying eggs, the adult butterfly will die. What's the point of being a butterfly? I need those butterflies to pollinate all my flowers. All right. Number 2 and 3. These are some of your questions. So it says, in the blank spaces, write the titles for stage 2 and 3 in the butterfly life cycle. All right, so this butterfly larva is called a caterpillar. All right, so the butterfly larva, what is it? The larva. It's in there. And then hard covering or chrysalis forms around the larva. The larva is now called a pupa. Wow, they just keep giving you those answers. Boy. All right, number 3. Why is it important that a butterfly larva store energy by eating a lot? Right? Okay, so this is the larva. Why should it eat a lot? Because what's going to happen when it's in here? Is it going to be eating? No. Is it going to be doing a lot of work? Not physically moving work, but yeah, it's going to be going through a lot of physical changes, right? So it's going to need all of that energy in order to make those things happen when it's not able to get food. And then number 4, draw an X on the life cycle stage in which the butterfly's wings grow. Butterfly has its wings here, but where are they? Which stage are they growing in? I can't tell you the answer. You will have to do that. All right, and here's where I get to bring out my toys. Life cycle of a frog. Some animals change as they develop. This change in form during an animal's life cycle is called metamorphosis. Butterflies also go through a metamorphosis, right? Many insects go through metamorphosis. Frogs do too. Frogs are amphibians. Amphibians live in the water during some parts of their lives, and they live on land during the other parts of their lives. A frog life cycle begins with an egg. Eggs! Covered with like a jelly that I learned that, like, so the clear, like, goopy stuff that surrounds the egg is actually to help keep it safe from fish, right? Because fish love to eat other aquatic animals' eggs. The young frog hatches from the egg and is called a tadpole. Ta-da! He has gills that he breathes with instead of lungs, so he has to live in the water, and he's got a little tail so he can swim around. The tadpole has body parts for living in water, like that tail I was talking about. It has a tail for swimming, and it breathes with gills like fish do. As the tadpole grows, it develops body parts for living on land. So first, it will grow back legs and start to develop lungs, right? It still has a pretty long tail, right? And then it will start to grow its front legs, and that tail will shorten up a little bit, and it will have lungs. And then, finally, an adult frog forms. An adult frog, and it uses its legs to hop around on the land. All right. And then, so it says, an adult frog lays eggs in water, and some frogs reproduce many times before they die, which is exciting. A little bit happier than the poor butterflies that just lay eggs and then die after they become a butterfly. What's the point? I can't, so sad. All right, and then so we're skipping these questions. I mean, if, all this information we already know, but you don't have to draw an X on the life cycle stage. You don't have to determine the factors, because I'm nice. All right, and life cycle of a mammal. Most of us are pretty familiar with this stuff. Unlike amphibians and insects, young mammals do not change very much as they become adults. Now, some of you might beg to differ and think, oh my gosh, like babies? Are you kidding me? But really, babies are just tiny versions of humans, right? We don't like go through any severe or like intense changes. We basically just get larger and less cute and hairier, right? Young mammals do not change much as they become adults. Many mammals look like their parents when they are born. Like you, they grow as they get older. And so we see this bobcat, right? Young bobcats form eggs inside the mother's body, and they are born when they are ready to live outside the mother's body. And there's the baby kitten. Young bobcats are called kittens. The mother bobcat's body makes milk. The kittens drink the milk. That's how they grow. That's the only thing that most mammals. So milk is the only thing that mammals can digest when they're first born. That's why, like, babies have to have milk before they can start eating real food. And then growth. The young bobcats grow bigger, and the mother bobcat takes care of them, just like your mother takes care of you, and or father, or aunt, uncle, whoever. I don't know. I don't feel weird about that. Parents take care of the babies. And then the adult. When the young bobcats grow to be adults, they can then reproduce, right? So then they can have babies. And looking at number 9. Okay. So this is almost a do the math, but it's not, because it doesn't say do the math. So I'm going to sneak in some math for you guys because you know I love it. Some animals go through their entire life cycle quickly. For example, most insects live for less than 1 year. Other animals live much longer. The length of an animal's life is called its lifespan. The graph below shows the lifespans of some animals. All right, so we've got the name of the animals here and the number of years that they would live. So a rabbit, it's definitely not on the 20 line. I would say that it's about halfway, so maybe about 10 years that a rabbit lives. Deer live about 20 years. A bear lives, I'm going to say 35-ish years. And then an elephant lives to be, holy patootie, like 70 years old? That's really old. I mean, yeah, it's like twice my age. So if I was a bear, I would be nearing the end of my life, right? And so this one, it says, what pattern do you see in the graph? So we see that the elephant has the longest lifespan. The bear is next, the deer, then the rabbit. So what do you notice about that? So the animals that have the longest lifespan on this chart, are they big animals or small animals? Similarly, the small animal, does it have a long lifespan or a short one? Think about it. And then your Flipgrid response right here. Number 10, how is a mammal's life cycle different from a frog or a butterfly's life cycle, right? So mammals do not go through metamorphosis, so that's part of your answer, right? Frogs and insects do go through a metamorphosis, and mammals do not. But what I want you to add to that. Tell me a little bit more than just that. So anyway, you guys, oh my gosh, you guys are like the same as 5th grade. So next week, you will have a test. Yay! That was so fast, right? We went through like stuff about animals like nothing. And then we'll have a couple of lessons on ecosystems, and then school will be out. What? Crazy. Insane. Anyway, see you guys next time. Bye.